Okay, seventh grade, the purpose of today's screencast is to go over Zoom expectations. Now, these are the expectations laid out by the district, and they are the expectations that you should be following throughout distance learning whenever you are on a Zoom session for instruction with a teacher. So we're going to go through this, and throughout the video, you will be asked to stop and answer some questions. So please make sure you're paying attention because there will be a little assessment piece throughout the video. Okay, the first one, be on time. Now, you were provided with a schedule that lists our class times, and just like you would in a normal class, be marked late if you are not on time. So obviously your teachers will be a little lenient the first week or two, just like we are in person, but you are expected to be at the Zoom session on time when we start for attendance. The second one is dress appropriately and follow the school dress code. So you guys should be familiar with the school dress code. If you're not sure if it's appropriate, it probably isn't. So just make sure, everything is covered for the most part and that what you're wearing is not distracting. And that you're comfortable. So if you feel like wearing a hoodie, that's totally fine. We just ask, you put your hood down. And spaghetti straps, things like that. We don't really need to see those. So just, again, refer to the school dress code if you have any clarifications, or you can reach out to a teacher if you're not sure. But please make sure that you are dressed appropriately. Number 3, now again, this was requested by our administration with the school district. So you are asked to use your camera so that we can see your face. And I realize, some days you might be like, I don't necessarily want to do that, or I don't want you to see the background of my house or where I'm currently at. I understand that. So there is a way to choose your own background on the Zoom session. You can upload a picture. You just have to have some sort of like blank background behind you. So there is a way to do that. And if you're not sure, you can reach out and one of your teachers can assist you with that, or you can look up an online tutorial online, and I'm sure you can find a video that shows you how to do that. You can make some pretty funny backgrounds. So you can have fun with that if you wish to do so. Number 4, be prepared with all of your materials and assignments. So if you are logging into math class and you need your math book for that day, make sure that you have that ready to go. Same thing if you are logging on to language arts and we're reading a novel, let's say, and I have a PDF or that file of that novel, you want to pull that up so that you're ready to go. So you will be having a lot of digital materials as well, or like an assignment you have to pull up on your drive. So not only do you want to be prepared with those hard copies, but you want to make sure you have your digital work ready to go as well. Maybe you want to have an agenda or a planner, a notebook with some pencils or pens to take notes. I do recommend having a little, place where you keep your school materials, whether that's like a desk or at the side of your bed or at the kitchen table. I'm honestly using my dining room table right now as an office. So be creative, but you should have a space for school materials and have those ready to go during your Zoom sessions for each class. Number 5, now this is a really, really important one, and there's a lot to this, so make sure you're listening. You want to be an active participant while you're on a Zoom session. So basically what that means is, just like in class, when you're raising your hand, you're working collaboratively in groups, you're listening while the teacher is talking or someone else in a group is talking, you're listening respectfully. that's what we want you to be doing in these Zoom sessions. So there is a chat feature in Zoom, and you are only using that when you're directed by the teacher or if you have a question. So, for example, if I have a screencast going on the lesson and you have a question during that, you can type it in the chat box. If I say, based on that lesson, can anyone tell me, blah, 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 please type it in the chat box. You can answer questions that way. Okay. But you're not using, the private chat during a lesson because you're going to miss important information. And then obviously if your teacher would put you in a breakout room with a group and give you an assignment and say, be ready to share, we're coming back in 3 minutes, you want to make sure you're staying on task with your peers in that breakout room, because your teacher might ask certain groups to share out. And if you're sitting there and you weren't following directions, you're going to look a little silly and you're not going to have anything to share. So make sure you stay on task. And the teacher is able to pop into that breakout room. So again, make sure your behavior is appropriate, because if you're not doing what you're supposed to, the teacher is able to remove you from the Zoom and contact your parents based on your behavior. So please make sure you're making good choices there. Number 6. Now, this one, again, came from the district, and I could see how it is going to be distracting if you would be doing this. Notice it doesn't say anything about drinks. So refrain from eating during a Zoom session so that you can stay focused and engaged. Use your breaks in between classes or your lunch to eat food or snacks. If you're sitting there munching away, it can be a little distracting for the other people on the Zoom session. It can also be distracting for you. It could also be messy. You might get something on your computer. So I'm okay if you drink, because I'll be drinking water throughout or drinking a drink. But I would avoid eating. Okay. So you do have breaks in between classes. You do have a lunch. Obviously, if you were so busy, you work through your lunch and you're starving, again, I don't really I think just for the sake of it, let's try not to do that. Okay. I know maybe you get super busy and time gets away from you, but try to do that in between your Zoom sessions. And this one, I think, is a big one. You guys know how to be respectful and behave appropriately. Same thing goes for Zoom. Now, I know we're not in person, but if you cannot act appropriately, we will kick you out of the Zoom session and your parents will be contacted. There will be a progression if this becomes a habit. But just like in school, you're expected to be there, you're expected to behave appropriately so that everyone can learn. And if you're a distraction, you are affecting the learning of others, and we can't have that. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're, doing what you need to be doing. So that is the expectations for Zoom. Hopefully you have completed the questions throughout this video, and make sure you submit those through Edpuzzle. If you need to go back and watch it again, I recommend it because, like I said, all of your teachers will be having the same expectations for Zoom. Your parents have been given these expectations through the district. So we want to make sure that you understand them. And if you have any questions or need clarification, this is where I'm going to ask you to ask those questions on the chat feature, and we can go through those together.